Hi there, and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you what we ate this week for dinner. These recipes are easy sheet pan meals that can be prepped ahead of time or made on a weeknight after work. They are our go-to, and I hope that you love them as much as we do. Now let's get on to the first recipe. First, we're making pizza-style stromboli. You want to first start by chopping 1 green pepper and half of an onion. You'll also need half cup of pizza sauce, pepperoni, cooked ground sausage, and mozzarella cheese. You can buy your own pizza sauce or make your own. I decided to make my own by combining a small can of tomato sauce, garlic powder, onion powder, oregano, and salt. I used this a few nights ago for non-pizza and decided to use my leftover ingredients in this delicious stromboli. The dough used to form the stromboli is 1 sheet of thawed puff pastry. This makes a delicious crust that's golden and flaky. You could also use refrigerated pizza dough if you wanted to. For me, puff pastry was easier to find and the texture is amazing. To prep the puff pastry, you'll want to prepare a floured surface and roll out the dough until it's about 1/2 inch thick. Don't worry about this being perfect. Next, start layering on all of your ingredients. Feel free to add other ingredients that you love on pizza, such as olives, banana peppers, pickled jalapenos, or whatever else you like. When you're layering all of your ingredients, leave about 1 inch free on one side so that you don't have everything spilling out when you start to roll. To roll the stromboli, pull the right side over and roll, making sure all the ingredients are tucked inside and not falling out. Keep going until you get to the other side and you have a roll. Don't worry if some of your ingredients fall out. When this happens to me, I just tuck them back in. Next, grab your sheet pan and spray it with cooking spray to prevent sticking. You could also use parchment paper if you wanted to. Place the stromboli on the sheet pan with the edge side down to prevent it from unrolling in the oven. To get that golden color on the top, I brushed mine with oil. You could also brush an egg wash over the top for the same effect. Once your stromboli is ready, place it in an oven at 400 degrees and bake for about 40 to 45 minutes. When it's done, let sit for a few minutes before cutting into it. So this is what it looks like when it's done. You see the pastry is nicely baked and golden, and the inside is full of layers. You see that delicious flakiness too? That's why we use puff pastry. To serve, you'll want to slice into 2-inch slices and serve warm. These are so delicious and kid-friendly. They're cheesy and taste like pizza, and they're a frequent go-to for us. Make them however you'd like. I will leave the recipe for this in the description below for you to check out. For dinner, we serve these with roasted broccoli and Caesar salad. If you have leftover ingredients such as peppers, onion, or sausage, feel free to throw those in spaghetti sauce later in the week for another easy meal idea. The next recipe we made this week was sheet pan pork tenderloin topped with a sweet and savory maple sauce. They were a hit when we had family over. To make this recipe, you'll want to start with 2 pork tenderloins that are patted dry with a paper towel. Cover the pork with seasoning salt, black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, and Italian seasoning. I did not measure how much I was using here. I was just eyeballing it. But you don't want to skimp on the seasonings. Make sure that the pork is covered. This will be essential to the flavor. You'll want to do this to both sides. The seasoning mix I use is very similar to a blackened seasoning blend. If you want some added heat, you can also mix in cayenne pepper too. We left this out since we've got a little one. But while you're seasoning your pork, heat a large skillet with oil that covers the bottom over medium to medium-high heat. We are going to brown the pork before it goes into the oven. This is going to create a delicious crust before baking it. Once your oil is heated, place the pork tenderloin into the skillet and cook until each side is browned nicely. Once it is done browning, remove from the heat and set aside while you prepare the sauce. In a small bowl, combine maple syrup, soy sauce, Dijon mustard, and sriracha. We only used a little bit of sriracha for the flavor, not so much the heat, but if you like it spicy, feel free to add more. Then you'll want to whisk this until it's fully combined. Once done, add parchment paper to your sheet pan and place the pork tenderloin on top. Pour the sauce over each tenderloin and reserve some sauce for later. Then you'll want to bake at 375 degrees for 15 minutes. Once the 15 minutes is up, remove the pork from the oven and place a foil tent over top of it to prevent it from drying out. Place back into the oven for an additional 15 minutes or until it's cooked through. If you're using a meat thermometer, you'll want to make sure that the internal temperature of the meat is 145 degrees before serving. Once done, let the pork sit for a few minutes before slicing. Then, when you're ready, slice into 1-inch thick medallions and serve with the sauce over top of it. These were so delicious. We served these with mashed potatoes and roasted carrots. The next night, we had lemon pepper chicken with asparagus for dinner. This chicken and asparagus is so juicy and it was topped with a savory butter. This was a quick and easy weeknight dinner that I could make after work. It's one of our go-tos because it requires very little prep work. To start, you'll want to chop the chicken breast into bite-sized pieces and place them in a mixing bowl. Season them with lemon pepper and paprika. You could also add garlic powder if you wanted to. Give it a good stir and then reapply the seasoning to make sure all the chicken pieces are fully covered. Then you'll want to set aside and marinate while you prepare the asparagus. Gather your asparagus and trim the ends and arrange them on your sheet pan. I did not prepare my sheet pan with parchment or cooking spray because the butter mix that we're going to pour over later is going to keep them from sticking. In a small bowl, melt a couple tablespoons of butter, add a dash of soy sauce and some chicken broth. Whisk together until the mixture is combined. Add the chicken to the sheet pan next to the asparagus, making sure that the chicken is in a single layer and not overlapping each other too much. Then you'll want to pour the butter mixture over top of the chicken and the asparagus. Place in a preheated oven to 400 degrees and bake for about 20 to 25 minutes or until your chicken is cooked through. Once your chicken is done cooking, it will look like this. Feel free to give it a good toss, making sure it's all coated in the butter mixture that you've prepared. This meal was probably my favorite for the week. There was so much flavor, and if you love extra lemon, you can feel free to squeeze fresh lemon juice over top of the chicken and asparagus. To finish this, I decided to top this meal with fresh parsley. Instead of chopping, I used these nifty herb scissors and cut the herbs into perfect pieces. If you don't have parsley on hand, another good substitute for this would be fresh dill or even thyme. And there you have it, delicious, quick lemon pepper chicken with asparagus. Finally, on the last night, I made sheet pan fajitas. Again, this is perfect for a weeknight after work. The only thing you really have to prep is the sliced peppers and onion and the chopped chicken. This takes about 10 minutes for me to prepare. If you're a fan of fajitas, you're going to love these. To start this meal, you'll want to slice 2 bell peppers. I used red and yellow along with 1 onion. Once done, go ahead and place these on your sheet pan. Now it's time to prepare the chicken. Go ahead and chop these into bite-sized pieces. You can also slice your chicken if you prefer that instead. Once you're done, you want to place these in a small mixing bowl. To this, I added a packet of taco seasoning. I don't even think I used all of it, but I also used a few packets of taco sauce that I had laying around from when we went to Taco Bell a few days ago. I love keeping those on hand for recipes like this, plus it beats having to go out and buy taco sauce from the store. Stir the mixture and make sure all the chicken pieces are covered in the seasoning. Place on the sheet pan next to the peppers. I also added some taco seasoning and oil on top of the peppers before throwing them in the oven. When you're ready, bake in a preheated oven at 400 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes or until your chicken is cooked. Simple enough, right? This is what it looks like when it was done and fully cooked. We serve these on tortilla shells alongside Spanish rice and refried beans. They were a huge hit and so easy to make. I hope you enjoyed this video on what we had for dinner this week. Leave a comment down below and tell me what you ate because I'm always looking for new things to try. Also, let me know if you'll be trying any of these easy sheet pan meals. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up so I'll know that I should make more like this. Alright, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.